Morning, everybody. Hang on 1 second as I get camera mounted up in there. Let's see, where are we at? Does that look like it's aimed right? Now the focus is off. Is that right? I think we're good there. That looks about right. We could center that a little bit. All right. I spent the first 30 seconds fucking with the camera. Anyway, what are we looking at today? Well, we are going to look at another Kimber. So I've been revamping my collection, my gun closet, and I've just been on a 1911 kick. But this one's gonna be a little different, just like I have my more standard ones. Before we open it, we've got our 10mm Ronin. Let's remove all the magazines. They are all loaded. The guns are not loaded, but the magazines are. I store them in the safe that way so that, you know, if I needed to grab one and go in a hurry, it's loaded. All I'd have to do is rack the slide. All right. So all guns are unloaded. And I've been loving, you know, standard 1911. So this one I just recently had just service tuned, had some springs replaced. New guide rod spring, recoil spring. The safety on it was a little bit mushy. Now it's a nice click. So I'd had that spring and detent stuff replaced, and that's the one of my first 1911s I ever owned. Sold that to Joe, and then that came back from his family when Joe passed a couple years ago. And then I've got my newer Springfield Ronin in 10mm. Amazing, just an absolute tack driver of a pistol. And then I got this one, which I will carry from time to time. Go watch my review on this. This is the new double stack 9mm 15+1 round. Super lightweight, only 3.5 ounces more than a Glock 19, but you get that 1911 trigger, you know, all that cool stuff. So, but I wanted something that was a little bit more carry friendly. So move those off to the side here. And so to that end, we got another Kimber. You may wonder, what exactly, what Kimber is it? So we got the box, we got the docks, we got stickers, all that good stuff. Little carry pouch. The Micro9 in stainless steel. Very, very cool little gun, I'm hoping. So let's take it out, unbox it. For those in the back of the room that are hard of hearing that are going to yell at me, you didn't even shoot it. This is an unboxing. Look at the title of the video. Words mean things. Try to keep up, Sparky. So what we've got is a 7+1 round, 9mm Micro 911. I guess the competitor to this would be the SIG P238. Is that a 380 or 9? I don't know. But in any case, this one is 9mm. It is single action only, just like a 1911, but more like this Kimber, it does not have the grip safety on the back. It's more of just a, you know, straight. Very positive detent. What's nice is that when you rack it, when you have the safety up, unlike most 1911s, let's see, if I put the safety up, yeah, you can't rack the slide and do a press check or any of that kind of stuff. Most 1911s don't work that way that one did. On this one, you can engage the safety. It is not ambidextrous, but they do make one that is. So they have different configurations. They have one with you know, some cutouts on the slides to lighten it. There's the repeat version. There's a whole bunch of them. These ones retail. This says MSRP of $910 on the website, but you can get them for less than that, obviously. 7+1 rounds. These are not. This is not the one with night sights, or are they? Hold on. No, these are not night sights. So just standard 3 dots. But again, there's a bunch of different configurations. This one, let's see, is, how much does this sucker weigh? It's an alloy frame. 15 with an empty magazine is 15.6 ounces. So it's just a little more than like a Smith J frame. So if it's in that size, and I carry a Smith J frame, and that might be like 13.5 or 14. So it's a couple ounces more, but instead of 5 rounds of 38 special, you can carry 7+1 rounds of 9mm. So you get double the capacity, basically. and a bit more punch. So I like this. This might replace my J frame in my rotation. It's almost small enough for pocket carry, but I'll be honest, I'm going to stick with an LCP Max 2. The LCP, or not LCP Max 2, I think it's just the LCP Max. The LCP Max holds 12 plus 1 rounds of 380, so not as powerful, but double the rounds, basically. Again, you go from 8 to 13, so almost half, almost double rather. But a little less punch, but more bullets, but it also weighs a lot less. I want to say that gun's like 11 and a half or 12 or something like that. So it's like a quarter-pound lighter, and it's a little bit thinner. It's better for pocket carry. This is nice. You can just get a grip on that. I do have, so go over what I like. I like the size. I don't mind it having that little bit of extra weight. It is small, so in your hand it feels heavy, but honestly it's not. I mean, loaded, it's still going to be like an 18-ounce gun. You might say, well, you're not too far off from like a Glock or this and that. I know. There's no right or wrong answer for carry guns. It's whatever you want to carry, whatever facilitates easy concealed carry, and whatever, you're proficient shooting. If I've got 8 rounds of 9mm in here between 1 in the pipe and 7 in the mag, I need to be able to do the job with that. I need to be able to put, grab it rapidly, unholster it, safety off, and drop rounds into target, and, be able to do what I need to do. If I can do that with this, great. If you can do it with a 22, that's all you can handle, great. I'm not one of those snobs that thinks, well, anything less than a 9mm or anything less than a 10mm, and you got to have at least 50 rounds. Whatever. I'm not Rambo. I'm not looking for a war. If I had 2 guys come up on me and try to mug me or, carjack me or something, I think after the first 2, 3, 4 shots, no one's sticking around, So at that point, if you got 8 rounds and you got fast mag, swaps, and you got another one of these in your pocket, which are small enough to just throw one in your pocket, I'm not going to feel underprotected. If I'm going into what I feel is a dangerous situation, then yeah, maybe I'll grab this. Maybe I'll grab the Shield Plus. Maybe I'll grab a Glock or, something else. It is typical Kimber fit and finish. We'll go through takedown real simple. It's more like this than like a standard 1911. You don't have the bushings and all that stuff to deal with. First thing you want to do, taking it down. And before we get to that, let me just cover a couple other things here. Safety, really nice engagement. You can get ambidextrous. I would say from holding it, they have these mags and then they have one with a pinky extension. I'm fine with these. The local gun dealer's got a bunch of them. I'm gonna go pick up several of them. They're a little pricey. The mags are like $35 each for a little frickin' mag, but whatever. I'll get 3 of them for $100 and then I'll give me 4 altogether. It fits in the hand really well. It's a 1911, so it points well. You got your beaver tail safety here. Everything feels really comfortable except this corner right there. It just drops off. There's like a shelf there. And so that piece, when I grip it, that corner pushes right into my hand. See if I grip it really hard for a couple seconds, if it'll leave a mark. Yeah, you can see the hot spot right there. And I think under recoil, that corner is going to dig in. It's kind of sharp. You're not? Now it's wood, so I don't want to sand it down, because then I got to refinish it in a way that doesn't look like it's been, messed with. So I've actually ordered some G10 grips, and G10, the color goes through the G10. I don't have to worry about stain, and once I go through the finish, then it's going to be blonde, and then I got to try to stain it the same color or cover it up. So I'm going to go to the G10 grips. I've also got a set of Hogue rubber grips on order. But with the G10, you can sand it, and if it comes with too much texturing, it's too abrasive, and it's rubbing it against your side, you can sit there with sandpaper, take it off the gun, obviously, so you don't scratch the gun. But you can sand it and contour the edges, and then just wipe it off, and it'll look exactly like what it looked like before with just less sharp edges. That's what I love G10. So that's so far the only thing I can feel is that corner right there, it lifts up, it's several millimeters. But I think under recoil, that would really bug me. It's just going to dig into your hand. You might say, well, put up with a little discomfort. It's a defensive gun. Who cares? But I'm going to go and practice with it. I want to be proficient with it. So, if I could throw another set of grips on that doesn't hurt my hand or doesn't dig in and give you a blister or something, it's like, well, why wouldn't you for $30, right? Anyway, that's the only thing so far I don't like about it. It's a nice little piece. So takedown on these is simple and yet can be tricky. So apparently they sell an actual tool you can put in there. Talk to the guy I bought it from that holds it in just the right spot because there's really not much of that sticks out. When you go to push these through, look how much of a nubbin sticks out. There's like 2.5, almost 3 millimeters. So you have a good positive engagement. Same on this one, same on that one. It's a nice big button for you to push through. On this one, there kind of isn't. It sort of almost sits flush. So what you have to do is you have to hold it with one hand, line it up, oops, without your camera, and then push it really hard, and that will then come out, okay? At that point, this slides off. So you're taking it down. I mean, it slides out the back, not out the front, like a lot of 1911s. So I did polish the feed ramp when I got it. So I got a nice mirror polish on that just to aid. I mean, take a Dremel with a polishing wheel, a little bit of jeweler's rouge, and now that thing is like a mirror. It's nice and slick. That should help with any feeding. Not that I'm expecting, it's a Kimber. I'm not expecting any feeding issues on a gun like this. Just put it back together, clean it out. It is a steel guide rod. However, it is not captive. So you will want to be careful putting it back in so that it doesn't shoot across your room, or in my case, hit my 42-inch monitor and break it or crack it or something like that and cost me a bunch of money. But yeah, it's nice. It's aluminum. I mean, this piece is light. All the weight is in the left hand here in the slide and the barrel. This thing is, I don't know, feels like it weighs like 4 or 5 ounces. Doesn't. I have pocket knives that weigh more than this. So really nicely done there. In any case, put it back on, push that little piece down so it slides over that, and then put your pin back in. So you'll just get that back, get it all lined up, press it back in. And apparently I didn't get it in the hole, giggity. So pop that bad boy back out. There's that barrel lug. It's got to line up just right. So I think what I do normally is start it there and then slide it back, and now it clicks in. And there you go. So takedown, you know, it's a lot less. You know, on these, you got to push the plunger down, you got to rotate this out, then you got to pull the plunger and the spring out, then you got to rotate it out the other way, then that has to come out, then you got to slide it back, then you got to pop the pin, then you take it off, then you take the guide rod out, then you take the barrel out the front. You know, there's like a whole bunch more steps. You can field strip this thing by just pulling back, lining it up, popping it out, and it's like any other gun. I mean, it's almost as easy as a Glock. The Glock, obviously, you would just pull it back and pull that down. Here you pull it in and pop it out, but it's very simple. Once it's apart, it's actually like taking down the Glock or anything else. Very, very simple, very straightforward. Action feels nice and smooth. That's really nice positive engagement. It's small, but it sticks out enough so that when you draw it, you know, you can do that. Again, empty mag, safety first. I like the fact that this is rounded in the back. So you've got like a kind of like a bob cut or whatever they want to call it. That edge is just a little bit proud. I might just try taking that, I don't know if you can see it, just a little tiny bit of a lip. I don't know if that'd pinch the skin or become uncomfortable, but it's like fraction of a millimeter. So I'm probably just going to take a piece of sandpaper and just knock that little edge off and just round it a little bit so it's not that sharp edge. But other than that, trigger pull, it's a 1911. It feels a little stiffer than some of the other ones. I think they said it's like around 7.5 pounds, which sounds heavy for a 1911, but honestly, you got a little bit of take up, nice and crisp. I got empty mag, so it's locking back. Reset. Kind of long for 1911, but you just got that little bit of take up, and then it's... So I don't mind that on a defensive pistol. If it was like a larger full-size target pistol or something like that, then yeah, I would want that lighter. Yeah, that's a lot lighter going back to back. That's much lighter. But for me, I don't mind it on a carry pistol. I think because you're shooting under duress, if you're using it, you know, in self-defense, you could have a 20-pound trigger and it could be rough as hell. In a self-defense situation, you're going to pull it. You know, you're not even going to notice it. Now, if it's too bad, it could, you know, it could hurt accuracy and stuff. So you don't want a bad trigger. But on a carry gun, I'm not worried about having a hair trigger. In fact, I think sometimes legally you might not want that. But the magazine wiggles around a little bit, but I think probably any magazine would. Did these move around at all? Yeah, I mean, any magazine has a little bit of wiggle room. You don't want to make it so tight because then if you get one that's slightly out of spec, it might stick or something like that. So it does wiggle around a little bit. We're still just going to knock that little bit of edge off there with a little bit of, this is what I use. 3M has these in different grits. And so I've got one here, and then I've got another one that's lighter. It's a higher grit, a little bit smoother. But anyway, these are great for like your G10 grips because they're flexible. You can even get them wet and wet sand and stuff like that. But that is a really nice little pistol. And for a size comparison, compared to a full-size 1911, it's a lot smaller, and it's less than half the weight. If the weight with an empty magazine is 15.5 ounces, and you're looking at like 40 or 42 or something like that, you're looking at a considerable weight savings, and it is much more concealable. But it's in that nice 1911. You got a flared ejection port. I mean, it's that nice format. If you like the 1911, you like carrying it cocked and locked. You know, some people do, some people don't. I know the Israeli military teaches that you carry whatever gun, if it's hammer fired, with a round chambered but hammer down. And as you draw, that's just part of your draw. You draw, instead of flicking off a safety, you draw and cock it. And if you train that way, it probably wouldn't be a problem. Here, you can carry it cocked and locked. Nice positive engagement. And as you draw, your finger snaps it into place. Your thumb drops into place by the time you're on target, and Bob's your uncle. So very nice little gun. I'm gonna go and do a range review of that. I'm gonna put on new grips and things like that and see if I can knock off that corner and make it feel really nice. But yeah, what else is there to say? It's an unboxing. We're gonna see how it shoots, but you know, it's Kimber. It's gonna be quality. Some people seem to hate them for some reason. I don't know why. It's whatever. I've owned a bunch of Kimbers over the years. I've never had one malfunction in any way. I've never had one that did not have really nice fit and finish. Didn't seem to be quality, you know, nothing. My experience with Kimber has been flawless. And I don't know, I'm sure someone out there's watching, well, I had one that did this. I think most of the time they're hearing from somebody else. Everything gets magnified on the internet, you know. Well, I heard one blew up and the Kimber doesn't make a reliable gun anymore. And it's like, yeah, because 2 people had a problem out of the, you know, 893,473 people that bought one. 2 of them had an issue. But you get on the internet and everyone repeats what everybody else says, and before you know it, everyone's saying it. So you take it with a grain of salt. I've owned a bunch. I've never had an issue. Doesn't mean you won't, but to me, Kimber's always been a quality name brand. So I love that the fact that something that started with this, not that this is, you know, on 110 years old, but something that started as a 1911 is still being made relevant, you know? I mean, here's 2 prime examples of 1911 based, and yeah, they're not authentic, they're not true to form and all that stuff, but they're keeping it fresh. And Kimber's not the only ones doing it. Wilson Combat's doing it. Springfield's doing it with their Prodigy. You got Staccato, you know, all that stuff. I like that they're taking a design that is battle proven. It's proven throughout history. I mean, you got over a century of hard use in world wars, and they're finding new ways to make them fresh and interesting and relevant. You know, in a world of polymer wonder guns and lightweight composites and all that stuff, they're like, okay, we can give you all the things you like about the 1911 and the nice grip angle and you know, the single action trigger. But we're going to use, you know, better manufacturing techniques and lightweight processes and, you know, make this as light as possible so that it's, you know, negligibly, you know, heavier than one of the polymer wonder guns. But you get all the benefits of the single action trigger and the cool design of the 1911 that's persevered through the ages. I like that companies like Kimber and others, to be fair, are doing all that. So anyway, that's enough of me rambling. Maybe we'll come back when I've got some other grips and stuff like that. And, we'll certainly come back and talk about how it shoots on my next lunch trip to the range. Try to get that done in the next couple weeks. So anyway, everybody, take care and enjoy and be safe. Hope you enjoyed.